It's time for Peptide Talk, featuring Garrett Pope. Now, here is your host, Joe Zapata.
What's up, guys? Another week of Peptide Talk. I am Joe Zapata. Before we get started, guys, if you can go to equipfoods.com and order your Equip protein and use promo code JerseyJZ, you'll get 15% off. They got creatine gummies, protein. They even got coffee. So go there, use promo code JerseyJZ, and get 15% off on your protein needs. All right, I'm Joe Zapata. I'm here with Doc Cock himself, Garrett Pope. How you doing, Garrett?
What's up, man? How's it going?
What's going on, man? So we're going to be talking about some HGH going on, some human growth hormone. But before we do that, there's actually a new member into the Ozempic Face group, and that is Randy Jackson. And I'm going to post his picture up. And this is Randy Jackson recently. Took a picture, 2026. Look how bad he looks with that face. He looks very sick. He did say he was on Ozempic. He has used those drugs. 2003, 2026. Garrett, is he using too much?
This is the best thing. When you sent me that picture the other day, I actually looked up if he had AIDS. And that's the truth, because that doesn't even look Ozempic thin. That looks like he's dying. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing healthy about that at all. That looks like a heroin addict or something. I mean, that's really, really bad looking.
Yeah, 100%.
It makes him look unbelievably old also. But yeah, apparently he's overdosing on the Ozempic, if you ask me, because that's horrific.
Yeah, that's not a good look. But
no, not at all. I mean, I actually thought like he looks like he's wasting away. There's something wrong with him. I thought maybe, all right, that's or even maybe like cancer or something. You know what I mean? Not that's taking the Ozempic to a different level right there. I mean, he looks just near death. It's I don't understand why anybody would want to take it to that. That's not even losing weight. That's looking like you're about to die.
Yeah.
So
100%. I don't know, but I'm sure there's going to be more stars that are going to be doing it. Celebrities. That's a new passion, a new thing. So
absolutely. What you said there to credit. You know who did it right as they aged, and she's been doing it for a long time? Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
She's never been an Ozempic person. I'm saying she's been a component for peptides and things like that. But she's done it right. Another one that's done it right, and again, I'm not talking Ozempic, but I'm talking about peptides and all that. Joe Rogan, yes. Joe Rogan. Those two have done anti-aging correctly. You look at somebody like Randy Jackson, and it's just that's ridiculous. I mean, that just looks like you're. I don't know, but that's a classic case of he doesn't know what he's doing, and I bet you his doctors that are prescribing the stuff, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the honest truth, because most of the doctors, it's funny. I had a phone consult with somebody just yesterday, and the exact word she said to me was, "I turned to you." Now she's known me previously, okay, and I used to train her going back. Oh man. 13 years ago. It's been a while, but she was a former client of mine. And she said, I reached out to you on this. She said, because I remember with Lake Ranch Rejuvenation, I remember you were, having peptides prescribed back then. She goes, and I want to know all about these peptides and stuff now and what to get on and all this. And she said, the issue is I actually went to my doctor about it. She goes, and my doctor specializes in hormone replacement and all that. And she said, her doctor, she looked at her and just basically said, I don't know anything when it comes to the peptides. And that's the problem, But yeah, I'll give that doctor credit, because at least she admitted it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of the doctors, they'll just turn around to people and they'll go, oh, it's bad for you. Don't do it.
Yep, 100%. Something else we want to mention is actually bodybuilding legend Albert Beckles passed away at 70. I think it was 71 or something. He passed away. Albert Beckles. Here he is right here.
Wait, he had to be older than 71.
Well, yeah, I don't know the exact age. Well, I don't know how old he was, but I don't know. I got to check it really to see how old he was, to be honest with you.
Hold on a minute. He's got to be, let me see something, because he was in his 60s.
Oh, 95, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, 95. He was 95. I didn't think he was.
Going to say was back in the 90s, he was still competing at 61 years old.
Yeah, that's what it was. I remember he was like one of the latest. He used to compete when he was really late in his age.
Yep, he used to compete. I remember he was competing at 61 years old still in the Olympia and everything. So so he actually lived a really, really long life for number one, bodybuilding, for number two, doing it for so long,
Mm-hmm.
He's and for number three, let's be honest, for being a bodybuilding black man, because they're predetermined as far as heart and stuff like that and different diseases. And so I mean, for him to live to the age he lived to, that was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. So at age 60 he won the Niagara Falls Pro.
Yeah, I mean,
at age 60, so he was doing it at a late age.
That's amazing, I mean, when you really think about it. So, and he had those peaks on his biceps.
Yep,
he had those 100%. Incredible peaks. But he lived. I mean, that's come on, that's a good life for for him. I mean,
100%. We got another story, two more stories we're going to talk about before we get into human growth hormone. This story actually came up that you actually talked to me today about, and it was that why healthy, fit young men in their 20s and 30s are mysteriously dropping dead. So
that article, when you read it, there's one common factor with all these people mysteriously dropping dead, and the one common denominator is they are all COVID vaxxed.
Yep.
I've talked about it before. Everybody knows my belief on it. But now it's starting to come out into the mainstream. And this article right here basically said they did, basically they took a look at all these people. I think the remarkable factor was 94% of the people that they looked at in their 20s and 30s that have died over the last 3 or 4 years, I forget what the study said, 3 or 4 years, were all on record as being COVID vaxxed.
100%.
I don't know, but want to know something? Back in the day, when a high school baseball pitcher used ephedrine and dropped dead on the mound, okay, all I know is all baseball players are using ephedrine. It'll kill you in the spot. Well, how come we're not hearing about this? How come we're not hearing about everybody that's vaccinated? I'm just saying, they pick and choose what they want to harp on,
Yeah, I remember that baseball player who dropped dead. They blamed it a lot on steroids, too. Didn't they blame it?
And it had nothing to do with steroids.
Nothing to do with steroids.
Had nothing to do with it. It had to do with it sped his heart up.
Yep.
Okay. And it had nothing to do with steroids. It was ephedrine. And they wanted, to pin on steroids. But that's what the public always likes to do, because if you remember something, and again, I hate to go back to this, but Chris Benoit, okay? The first thing the media ran with was steroids, human growth hormone, steroids, and it was back and forth about all that. And then it was after they did studies and everything. Oh my God, he had the brain of an 82-year-old man with Alzheimer's and dementia because he had such bad CTE.
100%.
From so many headshots from the chairs and all that kind of stuff,
Yep.
So, but right away, if you listen to the media, it's because he was on steroids. Steroids made him do this. Listen, I don't care what you say. CTE has made many people kill themselves. CTE has caused many people to kill others. Okay?
100%.
But they don't want to say it's that. They'd rather say it's steroids. It's this, it's that. Because then when that was, proven untrue, all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the media, oh, the poor man, he had CTE. I mean, it wasn't his fault. What?
Yep, 100%. I talked to Ed Connors, and Ed Connors told me, he says, there is no evidence that anyone has ever died from steroids. No one's ever died from steroids. He says, now wrestlers take a bunch of painkillers and all that other stuff, and they mix that in, which causes a lot of problems. He said, but no one's ever died of steroids. But the media wants you to believe, I mean, if we were all taking steroids and we're all healthy, what's the big pharma going to do? Everyone's healthy, living a long time. They have no drugs to give us. What are they going to do? That's why they put the fear mongering on steroids, on peptides, on blah, 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 blah,
Well, if you remember something, if you went back to the 90s, the early 2000s, testosterone was a steroid and was very bad for you. And if you're on testosterone, it'll cause a heart attack and it'll kill you. And now testosterone, more people are prescribed TRT in this country than anything else. Okay. And it's funny because hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Is this a different type of testosterone that was being used back then? No, it's not at all. It's the same thing. Why is it safe now, but back then it wasn't? Because the reason why, the government didn't figure out how to make money off of it yet.
Yep, of course.
Back then, they classified it as a Schedule III illegal steroid, okay? And then over time, wait a minute. We can market this. We can make money off this. We can have it. And then, oh, testosterone is good for you. They even went after, I don't know if you remember, I do really specifically because I had late rejuvenation then, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. All those commercials on TV, every time you turned around, if you used testosterone and you had a stroke, call us at 1-800 Chase Ambulances. You know what I'm saying? And it was those lawyer commercials. And they were trying to fearmonger people into then, if you use testosterone, you'll have a stroke. And that was all bullshit also. That was all bullshit.
Yep. I have a guy at my gym who's 84 years old. Guy at my gym, 84, and he's on TRT. And he looks great and he feels great. And he tells me, he's like, Joe, I have great sex life even at this age. He's like, he says, it's the fountain of youth for me. And I said, I told you. And he said, he says he doesn't know why more people are not just accepting it in the news.
Yep.
You know,
yeah. And that's the thing. They've actually now, I mean, it's proven, studies have been out there and it's proven, as men age, they will have more health risks with low testosterone levels than they will with higher testosterone levels. So, it's a proven fact. I mean, you can look it up now. Men with low testosterone levels will have much more health factors and health risks. And issues. So there's so many things that have been debunked over the years, but it's always been the way. The media wants to, okay, this is what we've been told, and this is what we have to go after, which is the perfect time to lead into, if you could, throw up that article about the teen steroid use.
Okay, that one right there.
Because this is a perfect lead into this.
So tell me about it. I got to find your article here. I'm going to talk about it right now because there's an article right now of teen steroid use has dropped, correct?
Yep.
Go ahead.
And this is a perfect end to this because when I explain what this article was really about, it's laughable.
All right, I'm having problems pulling it up, so let's just talk about it. I don't know what's going on here.
Basically, there was an article out stating that over the last decade, teen steroid usage has significantly dropped. And that was the title of the article. So that's what drew you in to click on the article and read the article. And I actually thought it was going to be an article about how the steroid usage dropped and why they believed it did and this and that. And the opening line of the article was teen steroid usage dropped over the last 10 years or 15 years or whatever it is. That's it. Then the next sentence, creatine usage, though, has been up in usage has been up in teens over 80% or 90, something ridiculous. And creatine is leading to health issues with teens and is unsafe for teens. And I left my ass off because I said, this article had nothing to do with steroids. It drew you in for the title. But this article was all about creatine and how they were now trying to fearmonger creatine. And again, they always go after the teenagers because what's going to happen is those parents are going to read it. And when a parent reads it, listen, I'm not trying to say, but for the most part out there, most parents have no clue about this stuff. Okay. Even if you ask them a protein powder, and a lot of parents would, well, is that dangerous? Well, is that no good for your kidneys? They don't know any better. And you put that out there, and right away the parents going to turn around and go, I read an article, creatine's no good. I saw you with creatine in your gym bag. No, don't want you using it.
100%. Yep. And, and I know a lot of people on creatine.
It's just them going after what they want to go after. And if you really break it down, creatine is one of the best supplements that you can take out there. Okay. That's an over-the-counter supplement for any age. I mean, any age. It's phenomenal for you. even as older, even as, there's studies now with creatine, even for people that have nothing to do with working out at all, you should be taking creatine. You should be supplementing creatine. So the fact that article was there, I laughed at it, because I said, that's just what a shit show. What are again, the media, and it's all about the media trying to put what they want out there. That's it.
Yep, 100%.
They have an agenda,
They have an agenda, 100%. Let's talk to our main subject of today, and that is human growth hormone. It's very popular. People don't know a lot about it. They think, I get it. People say, oh, it grows your head, it grows this and that. I guess we could talk into that, what's going on with that. But human growth hormone, Garrett, and we have some questions too, but tell me about it. What do you know?
All right, HGH, or GH, as commonly, referred to. Okay, let's just break it down like this. So as you age, as we've talked about the peptides before, GHKCU, BPC 157, NAD plus, all these peptides, as you age, they're naturally occurring in your body, but your body doesn't produce it as much anymore. Well, it's the same thing with growth hormone. People get this misconception that you're putting growth hormone in your body and it's some type of like artificial thing. No. Your body produces growth hormone. Growth hormone is actually prescribed to children that are stunted growth. Okay. So there are times when kids are stunted, and doctors will know this. And okay, your kid is supposed to be at this point 4'6" as the average height for the age, and your son is only 3'3" at this point. And growth hormone will be prescribed. Growth hormone has been prescribed for children for a very long time. Okay. It's a naturally occurring thing in the body. Okay. And once again, as you age, your growth hormone natural production and secretion drops. And it drops majorly as you age. The older you get, the less of it you produce. Okay. Now, when you break it down at the end of the day, growth hormone is the anti-aging peptide supplement, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Growth hormone is responsible for so much that people don't realize. Okay. So much so, I heard a lot of people talk about, baseball players taking growth hormone. Listen, Barry Bonds took too much growth hormone. That your hat size doesn't grow in your late 30s and your early 40s. It's just not natural. Okay. No. So anybody out there that wants to say, well, how do you know that? Because your hat size doesn't grow. Your shirt shots, you can fill your shirt out better. You can fill your pants out better. You can fill, that's all that can be done through other means. There is nothing that your head will grow on. That's bone. Do you see what I'm saying? So when people out there say, look, if your fingers grow, that's, and it's funny because when people say about their nerves in their hands, their fingers getting tingly or in their toes, that's because of the nerve of the bone plates pushing on the nerves. I mean, the bone plates are growing. It's the same thing with the head. Now, you have to be using very high dosages. Okay. Here's a perfect example. Do you remember the bodybuilder from Canada, Paul Dillette?
Sure.
You remember him? Yep. Do you remember the size of his head?
He was huge.
His head, I remember, I was a teenager at the time, and he had Herman Munster head. Okay. That's what it looked like. Okay. There you go. Your head doesn't grow to that level. Okay. I'm sorry. Barry Bonds' head grew. Now, for the most part, though, that was Barry Bonds was taking too much. You look at other guys, and I'm going to throw names out there that people will never, ever realize. And so the names I'm going to throw out there, do I know it firsthand? Yeah. But these names I'm very careful because I'm not going to name names that haven't been documented also. These names have been documented, whether through books that have been written, through Capitol Hill being admitted to. So I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember the pitcher, Kevin Brown?
For Texas Rangers, Yankees. He played for the Yankees, I think.
Rangers, he played for the Yankees. He had a good stint with the Padres.
Yes, yep.
Yes, Kevin Brown, great pitcher. You look at him. You're going to tell me he looked like a guy that used anything at all? He looked like the average pitcher, right?
Correct.
Kevin Brown used growth hormone every single time he got injured, so he would repair and get back sooner. So his DL stints would be a lot faster.
Wow. Yeah, he was always on the DL.
Admitted to it. Okay, he's openly admitted to it. Okay, but he used to use growth hormone all the time. Every time he got hurt, he used growth hormone to repair himself faster. And he said, "I never used it for performance. I never used it." But there's a different side to things. People think if baseball players, and that's what I laughed about when you had this. Listen, I loved the steroid era in baseball. I loved it. Okay. I'll be the first to say it. Jose Canseco, Sammy, they looked larger than life. They looked the part. And you know what? It was fun to see those balls being hit so far and so hard. And so, McGuire, all those guys. I love the steroid era in baseball.
Same thing in wrestling too. In the early days, wrestling guys were jacked out of their mind. It was good.
Jacked out of their minds. I like that phase a lot better than the guys the way they look now.
Yeah.
You look at them now and you would see them and you wouldn't even think they were a wrestler. You know what I mean? And then, oh my God, they were larger than life. They were, they were enormous. You know what I'm saying? So with baseball, you look at a lot of the baseball players now. I'm sorry, they look scrawny as hell, okay? Or they look out of shape, or they just look scrawny to me, okay? And you look back then, and those guys they were jacked, okay? They truly were. I remember one time sitting in Scores, okay? And it was myself, and it was, you might remember this name, not Jason Giambi. Do you remember, he's dead now, but do you remember Jeremy Giambi?
Yeah, Jeremy Giambi.
Jeremy had a lot of issues, okay?
I know.
And as you know, he committed suicide, and so he had a lot of issues. But Jeremy Giambi also played Major League Baseball, and he played for the A's for a while. He played for a couple different teams. So I remember one time the Mets were not home, okay, but Roger was on the DL, okay, so he didn't travel with the team, okay. I remember Roger called me, and he at the time I lived in Jersey. He lived down in Long Island City, and he had said to me, "Hey, listen, meet me at Scores tonight, such and such time." And I said, "All right, it's cool. I'll see you then." Blah blah blah. So met him at Scores, and that's what the plan was. Okay, and something happened. I can't remember then what the exact was, but something happened with him and his wife, and they got into an enormous fight. And I mean, enormous. And he didn't end up showing up. I'm there at Scores. Now, I was there with them all the time. So all the guys at Scores, the manager, they all knew me. Okay. So showed up. They brought me to the back to the VIP. I'm sitting there. I'm just kind of, listen, I knew the cocktail waitress is there, this, that, whatever. So just hanging out, And lo and behold, sitting next to me is Jeremy Giambi.
Okay.
I didn't know who he was. I look at him and I'm like, he looked familiar, okay? I didn't know who he was. He goes like this, and he looks me up and down, and he goes, "All right, bro, I got to know, what do you want?" And that's how our conversation opened up, okay? Then he introduces himself, and I go, "Wait a minute," and it was the wrong thing to say. I go, "You're Jason Giambi's brother." And from what I understand, that's one of the things that led to his depression his whole life. He was always referred to as Jason Giambi's brother.
Yep.
And it just what came out of my mouth. I didn't even think about it, And, he just I remember his reaction right then and there. And he goes, "Well, yeah, he's my brother, but I have my own career too. You know that, right? I mean, I play for, and the A's were in town playing the Yankees. Okay. So that's why he was there. So him and I'm waiting for Roger. And I said, "Come on, I'm waiting for Roger, oh, Roger's coming, blah, 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 whatever." Well, Jeremy and Giambi, Roger never showed up. Jeremy and Giambi and I ended up hanging out there for, I think, like 6 hours. We closed the place down. Okay. And we were talking basically up in VIP the entire night, to the point girls were coming up, and like he was there for, the girls, but we were talking, so he wasn't even bothering, and they were getting pissed off. And they were, and they were going, and they were, those two guys up in VIP and blah, blah, blah. And they're here all the time, leave them alone, blah, 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 whatever, So we were talking the whole night. And Jeremy Giambi was telling me some of the stuff that he was on, okay? He was telling me the stuff his brother was using, okay? And Jeremy Giambi said straight out, he looked me in the eyes and he goes, bro, if you can get HGH, good HGH, I'll have you ship it out to me all the time. I need HGH really bad. I've ran out of, my supplier disappeared, blah, 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 blah. So he was telling me how much HGH he was using in this and that. He was using a very large amount for a baseball player. And I asked him, I said, what are you using it for? You know, injury, this, that. He goes, no, man, nothing makes me look and feel like HGH does. Now, I'll be honest, he told me then and there in the thing, he was using 14 IUs a night. It's a lot for a baseball player.
Okay.
That's 14 IUs a night for a baseball player is a real lot. And I said to him, I go, it's a lot. I go, that's a real lot. And he goes, he didn't tell me what the amount was, but he just goes, he goes, then you should have never talked to my brother because you don't want to know the amount he does. And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
You know, oh shit, you know? But that's going back to a lot of baseball players, you know, and we talked about it that night. And he actually, the guy was smarter than people realized, okay? Because when I talked to him, he goes, you know what, really? He goes, I never forget the words he used, was it's a saying that I've used in the past. He goes, you know what really chaps my ass? And I kind of like, I laughed, you know, because that's not a saying that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Especially around
and I go, what? And he goes, everybody thinks because you use steroids, or, you know, you get, all of a sudden, you're going to be able to hit a ball better. He goes, you'll get stronger. You can hit a ball farther. He said, but it doesn't increase your hand-eye coordination or be able to see the ball.
No,
he goes, steroids don't do that at all. And I looked at him dead in the eyes and I go, but growth hormone does. And he goes, I know.
It'll make you see, I mean, growth hormone? Make your reflexes, really?
Yep.
I never knew that.
Growth hormone improves your eyesight.
It does? Oh, I did not know that.
And growth hormone improves your eyesight. Okay? If you have bad eyes, if you have growth hormone, hands down improves your eyesight. Okay? Growth hormone also improves hand-eye coordination.
I've never known.
So that's going to lead you to be able to hit a ball better. So when Capitol Hill and all that was harping on the steroids, and the steroids make you a better baseball player, that was the biggest crock of shit of all time. Steroids will make you hit a ball harder and farther. 100%. Because it's going to make you stronger.
Of course.
Okay? I'll use a great example. Remember Todd Hundley?
Yeah, I remember Todd Hundley. Sure.
With the Mets. Okay, before Mike Piazza.
Yep.
Great story here. Todd Hundley, if you remember, was like a 20 home run guy. Okay. Then all of a sudden that one year he had a 41 home run season.
Yep.
And if you remember, his entire look changed. Okay. He was on a boatload of stuff then. And he started cranking out home runs left and right. He went from a guy that had serious warning track power to now all of a sudden those balls that would die on the warning track were going over the fence every single time.
Yeah.
So steroids will do that. Growth hormone will increase hand-eye contact, hand-eye coordination, all that. So, and then we talked, I just never, this was a really good conversation I had with him. It was like Roger and those guys, like all this, the Latino guys, Roger, Ray Ordonez, Eduardo Alfonso, all those, they didn't know, oh yes, they're supposed to be good. I take them. They didn't know what the hell it was for or nothing. Jeremy Giambi, and I have a funny feeling Jason Giambi, just off of this conversation with his brother, they both knew exactly why they were taking things and what they were taking them for.
Yep.
And I remember having the conversation with them that night, and I'm saying to him, growth hormone does. And he goes, absolutely it does. And he said, when I'm using HGH, he said, now he's had to stop for different reasons. He said, but when I'm using HGH, he goes, look at my walk rate. Now, that was an interesting comment because remember Barry Bonds, as his career progressed, he walked more than anybody in the majors.
Yeah. Yeah,
your eye is better.
Okay. You remember Brady Anderson too?
Oh my God.
Brady Anderson went from only he used to hit 7 or 10 home runs a year to 50, then
51 in one season.
And everyone's like, what are you doing? And I know he was taking, the growth and all that stuff. He was doing
51 in one season, and then he got off after that season, and he went back to hitting 18 home runs.
Yes. So I mean,
yeah, that was a ridiculous, like when you look at it, you go, okay, that's ridiculous, But there were a lot of guys like that, you know, a ton of guys. Remember Rafael Palmeiro? Rafael Palmeiro was a classic. Rafael Palmeiro.
He never took testosterone in his life.
He did the Bill Clinton thing, remember?
I
did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Yeah. And that's what Palmeiro did. And, well, if you remember Palmeiro up to that, Palmeiro came up with the Chicago Cubs. And then he became a Texas Ranger. But Palmeiro, early in his career, was very comparable to Keith Hernandez. Mm-hmm. He would be a high average hitter, 323, 330, and would maybe hit 12 to 15 home runs a year. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very similar to Keith Hernandez's type numbers. Okay. Great defensive first bases and that. All of a sudden, Palmeiro started using stuff, and he's banging out 48 home runs, 53 home runs. Like, where did this come from? You know?
Yep, 100%.
So that's another example, you know, and a lot of people think it was steroids. Well, no, the growth hormone does two things. Number one, it makes you recover from injury faster. And number two, it does improve hand-eye coordination. Mm. So for a baseball player, that's real important. Okay. Real important.
All right. I got a question here. This came from Bobby R. And, you know, human growth hormone is a peptide. People, you know, you gotta understand it. Bobby R says from PA, he says, are peptides like CJC 1295 a safer alternatives to HGH? What I mean, is it the same thing? What do you think?
HGH and anti-aging dosages is totally safe. Okay. HGH in high dosage, ridiculous doses, no, of course it's not safe. But anything in ridiculous high doses isn't safe. So, CJC 1295 with ipamorelin. Let me ask you. Let me add. You don't want to just take that. You want to, if you're going to take that, you want to take CJC 1295 with ipamorelin in it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm taking that myself.
Exactly. So you want to, you know, I just want to preface that. You want to take it together. But if is it safer? Well, let me explain. It's a growth hormone releasing peptide. So what that does is that releases your natural growth hormone. Okay. So it will increase that. But if you look at the studies, the maximum amount it's going to increase, equivalent to taking real HGH, would be about 1 to maybe 1.5 IUs of real HGH. Now, for most people that take real HGH, you got to take at least 2 IUs per night. So that's not even going to be equivalent to real HGH. Now, I'm not condoning jumping on 10, 12, 20, 30, whatever the hell it is, IUs of growth hormone, okay? But in small anti-aging doses, 2, 3, 4 IUs, you know, even if you want to say between 2 and 6 IUs a night of HGH. That's just as safe as CJC 1295 with ipamorelin, but it's going to be a lot more effective. And my thing is this: if you compare it money-wise, and you compare, you know, apples to apples, HGH is better cost-effective than the CJC 1295 because you're going to be spending just as much on the CJC 1295 over time because you're going to have to increase your dosage. Which what happens is with the growth hormone releasing peptides, your body is going to adapt to that, and it's going to need a higher dosage to release more stuff. So,
got you. All right, and then another question is, and I think you've answered some of it already. Brett T from Hillsdale, New Jersey says, this may be a dumb question, but I'm not sure. Does your natural HGH production change as you age? And that was.
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as dumb questions, except that question. That is a dumb question. But yeah, it absolutely changes. It decreases. Okay. So your natural growth hormone production absolutely, as I said before, dips as you age. Okay. So 100%. And that is why there's these growth hormone releasing peptides and everything else. So,
okay. And now in the bodybuilding world, they always say the HGH gut, the gut that happens. Why is that? Is that because they're taking too much of it?
Yeah. It's the doses. They're taking such high doses of it. But let me add one other thing in there.
Okay.
It's a combination of that and also of them taking insulin.
Oh, insulin.
So
okay.
It's not just, I've heard HGH gut so much. And I yet have somebody to see with the distended abdomen.
Yes.
That is just HGH. 9 times out of 10, that distended abdomen, they're using HGH and insulin, and both of them in high dosages.
Okay, gotcha.
So I've never seen anybody just on straight HGH with that huge HGH gut. And you've seen it before, that big distended abdomen. It looks horrible, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's from insulin and HGH together that gives you that distended abdomen look. And it really does. It's unsightly, you know? But, you know, again, what they're doing is, you got to understand, they're eating so much also, okay? So everything's expanding. Your stomach's expanding. Your internal organs are expanding. Everything's expanding. And what's happening is it's pushing against your abdominal wall. And that's what's pushing the abdominal wall out.
Gotcha.
That's what people don't seem to understand, you know, when they think that they're just, you know, some people out there, well, they're fat. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that at all.
Yep. Gotcha.
But, you know, I would say it's because, you know, heavy HGH usage and heavy insulin usage, you know, and that's, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, that's the one I've never touched in my life. I've never touched insulin. And one of the reasons why is I've always been told, you mess around with insulin, that's the quickest way to become diabetic.
I've heard that myself, you know, and people don't realize insulin is a peptide, believe it or not. It's a peptide. And again, I've known people that done insulin too, and I heard them like almost pass out because they haven't had sugar, I guess, drink something.
Yep.
I think Dallas McCarver might have died because of insulin.
And Boston Lloyd, I heard.
Boston Lloyd, I think, had an aorta thing too or something, but he
did? Okay.
Yeah, an aorta, I think, because his mom mentioned that something like that was with him. But I think Dallas McCarver insulin, but insulin's very dangerous.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Insulin's very, and that's why I've never messed around with it, because of that. I've heard it many times from people. It's the quickest way to become a diabetic. So I've never ever touched insulin in my life, because it's just, to me, it's like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like you just said, like you need sugar, well, that's the same thing like a diabetic needs, you know? So, you know, I've heard people taking insulin and they become pre-diabetic. Why mess around with that? You know what I mean? So that I've never ever touched insulin at all. You know, I know a lot of people that have, and coincidentally, they're all diabetic now. So
see,
you know, I'm not saying, but I am saying, you know what I mean? Everybody that I know that have used insulin, that I personally, you know, they're diabetic, you know?
Yeah.
So
HGH, people you can stack that with testosterone is always great, correct?
Yep, HGH and testosterone is a great stack together. I would recommend it, you know, for any guy out there. You have to take HGH and testosterone together. They're going to basically feed off of each other. You know what I mean? So one feeds off the other, absolutely. But with the HGH, and that's what I try to explain too. Now, when you're just talking about HGH in general, okay, there's a lot of different types of HGH also. Okay. And that's what I try to get into. Like when the guy that just asked the question from Hillsdale about the CJC. Okay. Well, that's a type of growth hormone releasing peptide. There's CJC, there's 1295, there's ipamorelin, there's tesamorelin, there's samorelin. There's so many growth hormone releasing peptides. Okay. So I just ran through a gamut of those right there. Well, it's the same thing with HGH. It's not like it's just, you just have something labeled HGH and that's what it is. There's so many different types of it. Okay. There's American pharmaceutical HGH. There's the most popular GH out on the market, which is Chinese HGH. Okay. It comes from China, just like a lot of the peptides do. Okay. Which, majority of people, that's what they're getting because they want the cheapest HGH possible. You know what I mean? And you've seen them in the past, they're marketed as blue tops, green tops, red tops, orange tops, gray tops, whatever. Then you have, your American pharmaceutical GH. You have Norditropin, Omnitropin, the gold standard, the greatest GH that is out there, Serostim, okay, which is made by EMD Serono, which is an affiliate of Merck. Okay, everybody knows Merck. There's no other. Listen, I tell everybody that is the HGH that they prescribe to AIDS and HIV patients. Okay. Bottom line, it's the best stuff out there.
Best of
They
both.
give it to people for wasting diseases, but specifically it's prescribed to HIV and AIDS patients. And there is nothing out there on the market, in my opinion, that is better quality-wise. I mean, when you look at these things, and I try to tell people, when you look at HGH, there's a couple things. If you know what you're doing, that you have to look for. And anybody that listens every week have heard me say this term before: Januschik testing. Okay, so you can send HGH out to Januschik to be tested. Also, anything I talk about can be sent out to Januschik. Okay, there's nothing that can't be. So what I tell people is, there's a common misconception that the way to measure HGH, okay, if it's good or not, is to take a giant dose of it, say 10 IUs, okay, and then go get your blood tested and see where your IGF-1 levels are, and they should be skyrocketing. That's the farthest thing from the truth. That's such a misconception. It's not even funny. That picked up steam over the years, and I don't know where it picked up steam from, but so many people follow that belief that that's how you test for HGH, if it's good or not. No, it's not. Here's what you should be looking for in HGH. And anybody out there, if they're using HGH or thinking about using HGH, this is what you should be looking at. Number one, purity. Okay? There's different purity levels of HGH. You'll see some purity levels of HGH, Chinese HGH, that'll be 94, 95%. Now, to the normal person, oh my God, 94, 95%, that must be great. No, that means it's pure shit. That means it's crap. Okay? Then you'll have purity 96%, 97%. You're getting a little better. Then you've got purity at 98, 98.4, 98.5. Okay, that's not bad. Then you're getting purity at 99%. And if you can get GH that's non-pharmaceutical GH at 99%, wow, that's fantastic. Then you have stuff like Serostum, which is 100% purity HGH.
Wow.
That's why I say it's the best thing on the market. Now, that's not that's not the only thing to look for. Along with purity, you've got to look at dimer, okay? So it's DIMER, okay? And that's basically metals or anything else in the powder, okay? Because obviously you have this powder and it comes in little pucks. And if you ever saw how HGH comes, it comes in powder that looks like a pile of if you ever see Scarface, a pile of cocaine, okay? So it's just a pile of powder. How do you think they get them into those little pucks to go inside the vials? It has to be mixed with something in order to hold a form, okay? A lot of people don't think this far. A lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people just, oh, that's how it comes. No, powder doesn't come formed like that. You know, it's same thing with the peptides. Powder doesn't come like that. It's a powder, okay? If it was formed like that, it wouldn't mix so easy when the water hits it.
100%.
That's what I try to explain. People, you got to think a little farther, you know? So what happens with this is dimer. That basically means metals or anything else that's in the product. So you want a dimer level as low to 0% as possible. So I see sometimes people turn around and go, oh, yeah, my Januschik testing came back and it said 2% dimer. And I'm like, I would never put that in my body. Never. That's 2% is unbelievably high. You want 0 to 0.9%. That's it. That's it. Nothing higher. You don't want 1%, 1.2%. That's too high. Because if you think about something, you take 100%. If you have anything 1% or higher, that's 1% or higher of other things besides HGH in there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
And in the grand scheme of things, you don't want to be putting that in your body. You don't know what it is. You know what it is. So that's the first thing. So you want to be looking at purity. You want to be looking at dimer. The other thing you want to also be looking at is IUs. And what I mean by that is you can get growth. Back in the day, all growth hormone came in 100 IU kits.
And the kits, yes. I remember the kits.
Or
and they were expensive too.
Very expensive.
1,400, 1,500.
Well, it's come down majorly over the years for certain types of HG. You know what I mean? There's still some that are very high. There's some that have come down, but the ones that have come down to really low prices. Okay. And when I say really low, listen, there's HGH, good HGH kits you can get out there, $150, $200. People go, oh my God. And I turn to people and I go, wait, so you're saying that's really good HGH? Tell me what the purity is. Tell me what the dimer is, this and that. And I guarantee the purity is going to come back at around 95.4%. The dimer is going to come back at probably about 2.7%. So, okay, you just scored a great cheap growth hormone, but I wouldn't use that.
No, exactly.
I wouldn't use that. I mean, you think about something. It's the same thing. If you drive a lot, okay, are you going to go buy a car with 300,000 miles on it? That's a 1990, and you have to worry about driving 50 miles there and back to work every single day? Of course you're not. Of course not. Now, can you get that really, really cheap and go, hey, I got a car really cheap? Of course you can. But you're going to want to get something that is quality.
Yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Quality. So it's the same thing. If you're going to get a quality car, wouldn't you want to get quality that you put in your body?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now you go to IUs. There's different. Back in the day, like I said, everything was 100 IUs, except when you go to pharmaceutical HGH, you would have a Norditrope pen that was 36 IUs, or Omnitrope, or Serostim. The way Serostim comes, and I tell everybody, that's totally different. It doesn't come in 10 bottles. It comes in 7 bottles. Each bottle is 18 IUs. If you do the math, 18 times 7 is 126 IUs. Each Serostim kit is 126 IUs. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there's other kits out there on the market that are 220 IUs, 360 IUs. You can even get kits out there now like 420 IUs. Okay. So somebody will look at it and go, oh my God, I got a kit that's 420 IUs. And I paid, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, just random number. I paid $1,000 for it. Okay. Just random number. I mean, I could throw anything out there. 400, 800. I'm just throwing a number. $1,000 for it. Okay. How many IUs do you have to use of that? Because it's not the quality strength that the Serostim is. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it and you go, well, how many IUs? I'm using 6 IUs a night. I'm using 8 IUs a night. I'm using 10 IUs a night. Well, in reality, compared to Serostim, that's like 2 to 3 IUs a night of Serostim.
Okay.
And that's another thing I try to explain. You want to get good quality HGH because you don't have to take crazy amounts then for it to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's another thing. That's why I try to, so a lot of people don't realize, and they don't put all this into it, and they just think growth hormone. And, I say to people all the time, well, are you talking about cheap Chinese shit? Are you talking about quality shit? What are you talking about? Because there's a lot of other things out there. You know what I mean? Now, what I tell people is, listen, China, they gave us the COVID disease virus. I don't trust China for shit. Okay.
No.
I don't even eat Chinese food. So, I don't trust them for shit. They eat bats and rats and everything over there. How do you know what they're putting in their products?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. Exactly. You don't know what they're mixing or doing, whatever, so.
No. So for anybody out there, oh, it's safe. It comes from China. Wow. You're a lot more trusting than I am.
Mm-hmm.
You're a lot more trusting than I am. Now, I understand. I'm very skeptical of a lot of things. I don't trust a lot of things out there. Okay. But China and us aren't, it's not like we're, it's not like England and the US. Okay. I don't put it past China to be like, yeah, let's keep on giving them all these metals and all this kind of shit in their drugs. You know what I mean? In their stuff. We'll slowly kill them off.
Yep.
So, but people don't think about this because a lot of times what people think about is bottom line dollar. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what I say to people is, you're better off using no HGH than using cheap shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're 100% right.
I mean, and that's the honest to God truth. Or, back in the day, I mean, you remember how popular it was back then. I would call it all the time bathtub testosterone. You had these guys cooking shit in their bathtubs.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I would sit there and I would go, that ain't good for you.
No, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not saying they're cooking it in the bathtub. What I'm saying, though, is it's not the same quality. So I tell everybody, when it comes to certain things like HGH, you've got to be willing to spend a little bit of money.
Yes,
To get
and
quality
you gotta find a good source because it's so faked out there. A lot of it.
My God, is it ever? Is it ever? You've got to, and that's the thing, and that's why I tell everybody, if you have any questions at all about, you don't trust your source, you don't trust the quality of something, you don't trust. It's simple. Spend a couple dollars, send it to Janishik yourself, and have it tested. And guess what? Now you have peace of mind.
100%.
I tell everybody, you have any questions about anything? This isn't back, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where you just had to go, oh, well, I'm just going to wish for the best. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to trust my gym buddy. You don't have any questions at all. Something looks a little off, a little bit different, this and that. Spend a couple dollars, go get it tested.
Yep,
don't go by feels. A lot of people go by feels. Okay? Well, I feel different. I feel like I have it. Well, hold on a minute. What else are you using? Are you using multiple products? So what does that mean? How do you know what you're feeling what off of?
Yep.
So I don't like what I call the feels report. Well, I feel this, I feel stronger, I feel that. No,
100%.
No.
I mean, and there's a reason why, all the baseball players used to be involved with them because you used to help train them and show them the right way. And so they knew that you got to get good quality stuff and do the right thing. And very important.
Yep. I remember, it doesn't matter because statute of limitations is passed. So, I can talk about this. Statute of limitations are passed. So I remember one time, and this is going to be funny because when I start telling this story, it's going to click in your head like you have no idea. Okay. So, 2002.
Okay.
2002. I had to think for a moment. So 2002. And I was going to, I made a trip to Berwick, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Okay.
So I made a trip to Berwick, Pennsylvania. And that was, remember, all the way out 80.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. 100%.
So you just have to take 80 all the way out. You remember, okay?
Yep.
West, So west, yeah. So you take 80 from Jersey all the way out west. I made a trip to Berwick, Pennsylvania, and spent a night in Berwick. Okay, and this was I used to go to Berwick with you guys, if you remember. But this was separately. And spent the night in Berwick, and then was coming back to Jersey, and I had Amy with me.
Okay.
Remember?
Yep.
Okay. So I had Amy with me, and we were coming back from Berwick. So I went to Berwick, got her. We spent a night there, came back, and she was coming back. And it was, for some reason in my head, it was a holiday weekend. I'm almost sure of it. I think it was Memorial Day weekend, but I'm not sure. But I remember it being, the Mets had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday game. So it was a Monday afternoon game also. Okay. And I remember the plan was to go to, we were going to go to the game on Sunday. And then we were all going to go out, Roger, his wife, myself, and we were going out to dinner at this place, Tao. Remember Tao in New York City?
Yes.
Okay, we went to eat to Tao in New York City. Then we were all going back to Long Island City, and we were going to stay by Rogers. And then the game was the next day. So this way I didn't have to go back to Jersey and go back into Queens the next day and all that. It would just be a lot quicker. Well, when we were coming back from Berwick, I had to stop off somewhere out that way, okay, and pick up a large, very large leather bag of products, okay. And I remember it being handed to me in a leather bag. That I remember because it was a really cool looking leather bag. I still keep this in my head. It was just such a soft leather. It wasn't hard leather. It was so soft, like you could just put your head on it and fall asleep. It was such a nice leather. That's all it sticks out of my head. Anyway, so this large leather bag that had probably about, I think at the time, $13,000 worth of PEDs. Okay. Amy had no clue what I'm just, I gotta get some. Got the bag, put the bag in the trunk, made sure it covered it, this, that, whatever. What was, I go, nothing. Forget about it. You know what I mean? Head back to Jersey. Okay. We stayed by me that night, and then we drove into Sunday morning. We drove into to Queens. Okay. Player parking, this, that. She hung out for a while. I was downstairs in the clubhouse, this, that. Then came, up. So the plan was, after the game, Roger I'll name because, I don't care. And most of the other team, okay, most of the team, most of the Mets were getting their stuff that day. And again, they were like children in the fact of they didn't know what. So hold on a minute. Where do I stick this? Where do I inject this? How do I inject this? Last time I injected it, the needle bent sideways. like, why? So it was, and they were getting things like, I'm talking like exotic things like Epipose. There wasn't because some of these guys, they wanted to do their own research and wanted to try different things, and they didn't want to listen to. But you got to understand, some of these guys are making millions and millions of dollars.
Yes.
Okay? And they didn't want to listen to. They're at it. I know better. And no, you don't know better when it comes to this. Okay. You know what? When that 96-mile-an-hour fastball comes down the middle, you know better. But when it comes to this, you don't know better. Okay. So, they wanted to do their own things. And so they were doing a lot of, different products.
Yep.
So I remember after the game, and again, I said, I said to her, she goes, well, I'll come downstairs with you. I would love to go downstairs, this, that. So now I had to worry about, what do I do with her? Because I can't, that's going to be weird. And she wasn't in on it. You know what I'm trying to say? So at that point, a player that at the time we were still talking by the name of Grant Roberts.
Yep.
His girlfriend at the time, he said to her, hey, listen, we have to do something. Can you hang out with her and talk to her and just keep her busy and this and that? And she did. She just, chatted her ear up. I heard Grant Roberts' girlfriend was a really nice girl. But anyway. So.
Go ahead.
So anyway, what ended up happening was we went into the clubhouse, and one of the people in the clubhouse was Bobby Valentine. He knew everything. He just made sure he looked the other way. Stage left.
Yep.
He saw everything, and he just went like this. Wasn't a part of this. The only person that, hey, if he comes down, cover things up, was Steve Phillips. Remember the GM, Steve Phillips?
Steve Phillips, of course.
He was the only one. Don't let him see. Okay. And they would get all their stuff, and it was absurd. Now, listen, they had beyond, they were using things that they shouldn't be using even, but they wanted to. They wanted to look a certain way. They wanted to, and that was Jeremy Burnitz. Remember Jeremy Burnitz? Sure. Remember how big he got? He got pretty jacked there for a while.
Yep.
Okay. He was popping home runs left and right, if you remember.
Yep.
So there's a long history of that, and the way it was detailed, people think it was so. I would get the stuff. I would basically teach them how to use it, tell them how to use it, and then, guys, this is what you have to do. You have to make sure of this, and this, and they wanted to do their own thing.
Yep.
Then they started getting it. Hey, do me a favor. Get me 2 bottles of this time. Why? You want to have it so you have it for a longer period? No, I want to do double the dosage. No. That's not good. You don't want to do that. I understand, but that's what I want to do. So I'm willing to pay for it. And they didn't care. Okay. They didn't care. I remember Trust nightclub. Okay. Do you remember? Trust?
No, I don't remember.
I used to wear the black hat all the time at the gym. It said Trust.
I think I remember the Trust hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Always had Trust on it. Okay. It was a nightclub in New York City. And we were at Tim Wakefield's bachelor party.
Okay.
Remember Tim Wakefield?
Yep.
Now he's also dead now.
The knuckleballer.
What?
The knuckleball.
Yes, Boston. Now, him and his wife are dead, unfortunately. They died, both of them, cancer. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Both of them cancer. Very, very. Now, I was at his bachelor party, and I'm not going to lie to you. Tim Wakefield is probably one of the nicest people I have ever met in my life. When I saw that he died, I actually I was like, man, like that one hit, because this guy was such a good, I just remember him being one of the realest people I ever met in my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Really good looking guy, really smart guy, really just he had it, he had his head on straight. You know what I mean? Not some of these other guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember at that, you had members of the Red Sox, members of the Yankees, members of the Mets, members of the Marlins, members of the Detroit, all at this bachelor party. Okay. And that's where I was introduced to Tony Clark at the time. Remember Tony Clark?
Tony Clark. Yeah, he played for the Mets too for a little bit, right?
Mets, Yankees. He went on to be president of the players. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, what's funny is you saw what just happened with him in real life with the affair and all that. Okay. And he lost his job. But he went on to be a high up and, executive in this and that. And what I find funny about this is because I met him for the first time at Trust that night. And I remember all he wanted to talk about was, what should I use? And what they told me about, what should I use? And that's all he wanted to talk all night long. Tony Clark, for people that don't know, dude, he's a big ass dude.
Yeah,
he's like
big.
6'8".
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, he is big. I remember talking to him being like, he was big, Yeah. And most of these other guys, like Roger was 6'2", I'm 6'2". Most of the guys, him, I just remember being like this. But anyway, so it was at this bachelor party. And I think I told you the story. It was at this bachelor party that the single most disgusting thing that I had ever seen in my life, and that's saying a lot, occurred at this bachelor party. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they have a big, huge circular table, but it's huge. It takes up the entire room. Okay. Mm-hmm. And to give you an idea how big they set this table up circular, it's set probably 50 people. Okay. Okay. So you gotta understand, that's a lot. And then you had a big opening in the center. Well, food is served. And they had prime rib, and they had salmon, and they had rack of lamb. And I'm not talking about crap food. It was real good quality food. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And listen, I'm like, all right, I start digging in, I'm eating, and I'm in my glory. You know what I mean? I'm eating away. And they're like, they're more care. They're all getting drunk, they're eating a little bit and all getting drunk. I'm just stuffing my face because this food was I was so happy. Mm-hmm. So happy. So as I'm eating, all of a sudden the lights dim a little bit and the entertainment comes out. Remember, this is a bachelor party. And you have these girls that come out and they come in the middle and they start dancing and this and that. And you just think it's a show, whatever. So I'm eating, you had some guys that were more into it than others and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, I thought I was seeing things. One girl lays down on her back, spreads her legs. Another girl lays down facing her. Mm-hmm. So it looks like she's going to leg press her. Okay. And she begins by slowly inserting her toes.
Okay. I got it.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay, she's gonna wiggle her toes or do a little trick or something. And then it went mid-foot. It went up to ankle.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a foot. Yeah. It went up to ankle, and then she proceeded to move her foot. I lost my appetite. I wanted to vomit. I wanted to throw up. It was absolutely disgusting. I looked, and I remember looking, and I don't remember who was sitting next to me. I actually don't remember who it was. Okay, it wasn't Roger or somebody. It wasn't. I turned to my right. Roger was on my left. That I remember. And I go, "This is sickening." Yeah. It was horrible. It was horrible.
And Tim Wakefield, I got to give him credit, getting the best entertainment for the night, huh?
Oh my God. Well, I remember him saying too, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? He wasn't, other guys were all, there were some people totally, and I was just like, that's a foot. That's a foot. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even talking like, what's odd about that? That's a foot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then leave it to me. I'm turning around and my mind starts going, and I'm going, I hope she washed her foot before she did that.
Oh my God. Well, We're going to end it on this note, but another great week. Garrett, where can people reach you so we can ask you some questions
Pope
about human
training at Instagram, one word, Pope training.
Pope training.
At Instagram, DM me, whatever. I do paid consults, training, peptides, gear, wherever it is. The only thing we won't talk about is, as I talked about in the past, we will not talk about gay porn. And we're not talking about people sticking foots up other people. So that's it.
All right, man. I will see you next week, brother.
See you next week.
You got it, brother. All right.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Body builder coated. Years on